Hello, welcome back to this channel. It's good to see you here again. I've decided to introduce quiz. From time to time we'll be having a quiz, and I believe this will be very helpful to as many that are preparing for certification, maybe in networking, on cybersecurity, or in any technology related field. So you are welcome to this channel. Let's start. What we're focusing on today is networking, and we're looking at the terminologies in networking. So it is from a beginner to advanced. If you don't know much about networking, other than the fact that you know your phone connects to the internet, you have Wi-Fi and things like that, you can start preparing yourself. If you are you're looking to have an inroad into information technology or cybersecurity, you can start learning the common terminologies. That's a very good place to start, so that when you're watching a video or you are in a class and the instructor is talking about certain concepts and principles and they mention these terms, you will be familiar with them and you'll be able to flow on with the lecture. So the first question here is, what does IP stand for? What does IP stand for? I'll give you a second before I highlight the answer. Is it internet path, internal protocol, internet protocol, integrated packet? What is the answer? And the answer is internet protocol. That's the answer. Okay, so let's go to question 2. Which device connects multiple devices within the same LAN? Within the same LAN, which device? What's the name of the device that connects multiple devices within the same LAN? Router, switch, firewall, server. What is the answer? And the answer is B, switch. All right. Router, what does router do? If you know what the router do, if you know what the router does, put it in the comments. What the firewall does, put it in the comments. The server, you can list the 3 and put what they do in front of them. So we move on to question 3. Which protocol translates domain names to IP addresses? IP addresses are in a numeric, especially IPv4 is numeric, while IPv6 is alphanumeric. So which protocol translates domain name? For example, if we have google.com, what protocol normally translates that google.com to the IP? Let's say 4.4.4.4 or 8.8.8.8. What protocol is responsible for that? that's able to pick the domain name and look for the matching IP and display it. And the answer is, okay, what is DHCP? It is what? What's DHCP? Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. What is ARP? I will leave that for you. What is ARP? Write it in the comments. What is FTP? File Transfer Protocol. So the answer is DNS, Domain Name Service. DNS. That is the answer. So we proceed to question number 4. We have 45 questions in all. So just take your time and learn. What type of address is 192.168.1.10? What type of address is that? It is a private address. It's a private address. So it's address within a local network area. For every public address, you have this private address within the network. It is with the private address that the devices that are connected to that public address communicate internally within the local network area. And when any of them need to communicate with the internet, with the outside network, then they run through the public IP address. And what is MAC address? The MAC address, most people should know this because your phone, your laptop, all of them have MAC address. That's the unique global address for your device. And what's the loopback address? The loopback address, loopback address is the address within a particular device with which it talks to itself. That is the address which the applications within that same device use to communicate within that device. That is the loopback address. So we move on to question number 5. Question number 5. Which layer of the OSI model handles MAC addresses? So which layer? The first thing is that you need to know the number of layers. You need to know how they are ranked. So if you don't know answer to this, I will encourage you to learn OSI model. And if you join the channel, if you subscribe for the membership, there is a course fully on Nmap. You will learn all this under the course titled Nmap. Alright, so the layer that is responsible is layer 2. That's layer 2. What does MAC mean? What does MAC mean? You know, we've talked about, let me scroll back up to the question about, okay, there was no question about MAC address up. I only explained what MAC address is now. So I've explained what MAC address is, but now what's the meaning of that acronym? That's why I did not mention it. What is MAC? What's the meaning of MAC? MAC. It is Media Access Control. And that is why it is unique to your device. So we go to question number 7. Which protocol is connection oriented among these 4? DNS, ICMP, TCP, and UDP. If you know some of these, the best way to get to pick an answer is to first eliminate the ones you are perfectly sure are not the answer before you even start thinking about what could be the option. So in this channel, we don't only talk, I teach you about the technical aspect of passing exams, passing certification, and things like that. So these are some of the perks you will come across here. So I've just mentioned DNS. I said it is domain name service. So it's about translating domain name to IP and IP to domain name. That is what is responsible for. So obviously you eliminate that. And if you know UDP, okay, so the answer is TCP, Transmission Control Protocol. That's the answer, TCP. So we move on to question number 8. If you know the meaning, I want you to write in the comment section the full meaning of ICMP and what protocol, what that protocol does. What does it do? Write it in the comment section. Question number 8. What is the function of a default gateway? Store domain names, provide local power, routes traffic to external networks, encrypt data. It's called gateway for a reason. So that should not be difficult to pick the right answer. If it stores domain name, then it wouldn't be a gateway. Provide local power. It does not supply power. encrypts data. What does encryption means? Making data and transforming data into a secret format. Is a format whereby the person that comes in contact with it will not be able to read or understand what actually is coded in that data, because it has been transformed, and there will be a key to decrypt it so that the authorized person can, or individual can, have access to the stored data, or the data that is kept or changed. Okay, so the answer is it routes traffic to external networks. That is what your gateway does. If you type CMD, like here, you type CMD in your search, in your taskbar, search space, you type CMD, then the command prompt will come up, and you type IP config, one word, IP config, and you press the return key. It will show you the network of your local, it will show you the address of your local network rather. And if you want full detail, you can type IP config space then /all, and that will bring up everything. You will see the IP address, you see all the interfaces on your network, and you will see the gateway. So that gateway is the one that routes traffic to the external network. That's the address that routes traffic to the external network. So that is the answer for that. Let's go to question number 9. I have explained earlier, I've defined what a loopback IP is, but I did not give you example of it. So now you need to pick. I've told you that loopback IP is that IP within a device with which applications and processes communicate among themselves there. So it is an IP that operates within a device itself, within a specific device. That is a loopback IP, and the format is common. So what will be your option here? Is it 8.8.8.8, 192.168.0.1? I've shown you that one up, that is a private IP, meaning that's the IP with which a device talk to other devices within the local network. So you should eliminate that. You should be able to eliminate 169.254.0.1. that is a public IP. That's a public IP. I want you in the comment section to write what type of IP is 8.8.8.8. So the answer for number 9, the loopback IP, is 127.0.0.1. That is the loopback IP. Number 10 question. What does DHCP do? I've mentioned earlier that it's called dynamic host configuration protocol. So what does it do? Does it encrypt packets? Assign IP addresses automatically? Translate IP to MAC? Block traffic? So what is the answer? DHCP does not encrypt packets. It's not HTTPS. So then, does it assign IP addresses automatically? Does it translate IP to MAC address? Does it block traffic? What normally block traffic? Your firewall. Okay, so the correct answer is assign IP addresses automatically. That is the answer. That's number 10. Number 11. Which layer is responsible for routing? Which layer of OSI model is responsible for routing? In the course on Nmap, we treated OSI model and TCP/IP stack, and you will enjoy it if you subscribe. Alright, so if you join as a member. Now, which layer is responsible for routing? That is layer 3. That's layer 3. Question number 12. What command tests basic network connectivity? You want to know whether there is connection between two hosts. What command will do that? Is it traceat? Is it ping? Is it NSLOOKUP or SSH? The answer is ping. Once you go into your command prompt, your command terminal, CMD, you type ping and you put the IP address of the device you want to know whether it can be reached over the network. Then it will send packets to that device instantly, and if there is a response, then you already established that there is connectivity, so it can be used to test network connectivity. Traceat is more complex than ping, because traceat monitors how many hops the message or packets travels from the host, that is the origin, to the destination. What is NSLOOKUP? That is just from the word lookup domain name, look up IP address, look up detail about them. Then what about SSH? Secure shell. That establishes connection between two hosts securely. So we move on to, so the answer is ping. We move on to question 13. Which of these is a wireless networking standard? Which of these is a wireless networking standard? It is 802.11. That is the wireless networking standard. Number 14. What is a port number used for? What is a port number used for? Is it used for identifying devices, identifying applications and services, assigning power, routing packets physically? What is the answer? The answer is identifying applications and services. When you want to know what detail about an application running on a particular host, one of the critical information or the most important information you want to know is the protocol and that is running, as well as the port that is hosting that particular protocol. So it is by that you'll be able to determine the status, the state of the application, identifying applications or services. You want to know what services are up, what services are running on a particular host. Then you need to scan the ports to know whether the port is open, closed, or is filtered. Obviously, if the port is closed, it means the service, that particular service is not running at that point in time. And if it is open, it means it is active. It might be actively listening or running. Okay. Which device provides IP addresses to clients? Which device provides IP addresses to clients? Switch, DNS server, DHCP server, proxy server. We've talked much about providing address. Which one did we say normally provide IP address automatically? That's DHCP. So the server for DHCP, that is DHCP server, that's the one that is responsible for providing IP addresses to clients. Now if you make it through up to this point, you have done great, and that means you have now crossed the beginner level. You are starting the intermediate level now. So what does ARP map? What exactly does ARP map? Remember that I said earlier that you should put in the comment section what ARP means. So if you have searched and you know what ARP means, then you should have answer to number 16. So what does ARP map? ARP map IP address to MAC address. IP address, it maps it what MAC address has this particular IP address. That is the work of ARP. ARP means what? ARP I'm waiting. I want someone to put it in the okay. I've said you should put it in the comment section. Now go back to the comment section and tell us what ARP means. It means address resolution protocol. Address resolution protocol. Why is it called address resolution protocol? Because it resolves the ambiguity of which IP has this or which MAC address. Remember that a MAC address is attached to a particular device. That is the address, the manufacturer address for that device, and it is always unique. Your phone has MAC address, your laptop has MAC address. What other devices? They have their unique MAC address, and the ARP responsibility is to point that the IP address that your device is using to map it to the MAC address, so that when it has there is ARP table. So if host A on the local network, that's the within LAN, the same LAN, for example, if it wants to send message across to IP address 192.168.5.4, and what it will do is it sends the packet out. The ARP will pick the packet, look at it, and stamp the packet with the MAC address. This is the MAC address that has this particular IP address. So that is where the traffic should flow to. Do you understand it now? So that's why it's called address resolution protocol. So its work is to resolve what address is for what MAC address, what IP address belongs to a particular IP. What IP address belongs to what a particular MAC address. So this is the answer. And address resolution protocol is layer 2, layer 3 protocol, depending on the network or device, maybe router, switch. Okay, so we go to 17 now. What is the purpose of NAT? What is the purpose of NAT? Routing internal networks, converting private IPs to public IPs, capturing packets, assigning domain names. Let's start from the bottom. What protocol is responsible for assigning domain names? That's your DNS. That's the domain name service. What about capturing packets? Talking about your ICMP. Routing internal networks. We just talked about ARP. So your answer is B. Converting private IPs to public IPs. That's what your NAT does. If you have used virtual machine, you see that this is one of the, in fact, that seems to be the default. That's the default network configuration for virtual machines. So you can change it to another network configuration like internal network and things like that. So your NAT takes your virtual machine private IP address or your laptop IP address and convert it to the public IP address when you are sending out message to the wider web. That's what it does. So we move on to number 18. Which protocol does the ping command use? The ping command uses what? The answer is ICMP. ICMP. That is the answer. Number 19. Which OSI layer does encryption typically occur in? In a transaction between two hosts. At what layer does encryption typically occur? Is it at the application layer or at the session layer or at the physical layer, at the network layer? Which one is the answer? The answer is layer 6. Write in the comment section what layer 6 is. Now number 20. 255.255.255.0 is what? What is this? This address is what? Is it gateway? Is it IP address? Is it subnet mask or a MAC address? Remember, your MAC address is the address of the device. The gateway address is the address through which your internal network connects to the outer web. An IP address is IP address. So what is your answer? The answer is subnet mask. Subnet mask. That is your answer. Number 21. Which type of traffic is sent to all hosts? What type of traffic? When no specific host, or when the packet is sent, it's brought. Oh, I think I've let the cat out. It's sent to all hosts on the network. The answer is broadcast. The answer is broadcast. This method, the packet is sent to all the hosts without exception. Then each checks and see if it's addressed to them. If it's not addressed to them, they bounce it back until it gets to the one that it is addressed to. Number 22. A VLAN operates at which level or which layer? VLAN. At which layer? That is layer 2. What is VLAN? VLAN is what? Put it in the comment section. Okay, we move on to 23. Which tool analyzes network packets? Which tool can you use to analyze network packets? Wireshark, PowerShell, RDP, OpenVPN. And your answer is Wireshark. Alright. Then we move on to 24. What is the purpose of a firewall? Why do we need firewall? What is the purpose? Encrypt network traffic, filter traffic based on rules, assign IP addresses, monitor CPU usage. What is the answer? And the correct answer is filter traffic based on rules. Firewall efficiency is as good as its rules. So, if in setting up the rules there is misconfiguration, though the firewall is there, but it may not filter the necessary traffic, and there could be inbound and outbound of unwanted traffic. That is termed vulnerability that stems from configuration. So we move on to the next one. What is the purpose of a firewall? What is the purpose of? Oh, we've just done that. As I did not highlight it. Okay. Then question number 25. Which of the following uses port 22? FTP, SSH, SMTP, Telnet. If you are studying for networking, you need to know these four. Not only these four, but I'm just saying that the four of them, you must know what each of them is and what port they run on. Okay, the answer is B, SSH. So we proceed to 26. MTU refers to what? Maximum transfer unit, maximum transmission unit, medium transfer unit, managed transport unit. And the answer is maximum transmission unit, MTU. What does a load balancer do? Have you ever come across the word load balancer? But then, even if you have not come across the word load balancer, from the name, you should have idea, at least a vague idea of what the purpose could be. So, option A, it blocks malicious traffic. B, distributes traffic across multiple servers. C, encrypts connections. D, converts IPv4 to IPv6. What is the answer? The answer is distributes traffic across multiple servers. Distributes service across multiple servers. Then 28. Which protocol ensures reliable delivery? ICMP, ARP, UDP, TCP. Which one? The answer is TCP, Transmission Control Protocol. In fact, UDP does not care whether the packets arrived at the destination or not. Just send it, and that's all. So the answer is TCP. Number 29. What command traces the path packet traveled? I've mentioned it earlier, so I expect someone to pick the answer at a fly. What command traces the path that packet travels? Is it ping, SSH, traceroute or traceroute, ARP flag A? The answer is C. The answer is trace out or trace out. Trace route. I said trace out. Number 30, and probably the last question in intermediate level. A collision domain is reduced by using what device? Collision domain is reduced by using what device? A. Hub. B. Switch. C. Modem. D. Repeater. The answer is switch. Now we're entering the advanced level. OSPF is what type of routing protocol? OSPF is what type of routing protocol? Is it distance vector, link states, path vector, static? The answer is link states. Question number 32. BGP primarily uses what protocol type? Type in the comment section the full meaning of BGP. BGP uses what protocol type? Distance vector, path vector, flooding, link states. The answer is path vector. Path vector. Which IPv6 address type is equivalent to IPv4 broadcast? Which type of IPv6 address is equivalent to IPv4 broadcast? Unicast, anycast, multicast, link local. The answer is multicast. And number 34. Which TCP flag is used to gracefully close a connection? SYN, ARC, FIN, RST. What does SYN do? What does ARC do? You know, these two are responsible for handshake between the two hosts, and RST is what? To reset. Then the answer is FIN. (35) What is the default port for DNS over TCP? What is the default port for DNS over TCP? Is it port 53, port 80, port 123, port 443? If you are familiar with 80 and 443, you first eliminate the two, because those are connected to HTTP and HTTPS? The answer is 53, port 53. That's your DNS server ports. The default port for DNS is port 53. Then question 36. STP, spanning tree protocol, prevents what? What does it prevent? Routing loops, switching loops, DNS failures, IP conflicts. The answer is switching loops. We move on to 37. A static subnet contains how many usable hosts? How many usable hosts are on this type of subnet? How many usable hosts? Two, 4, 6, 8. The answer is 2. And how many are on /24? Put the answer in the comment section. What is the primary purpose of QoS? What is the primary purpose? Improve encryption, prioritize specific traffic, increase bandwidth, block malware. The answer is prioritize specific traffic. This must go out first, no matter, even when there is bottleneck. This particular traffic must go out because it's essential for the continue running of the device itself, and maybe also for maintenance. Then question number 39, GRE. Say prioritize specific traffic. It's just like on the road. If an ambulance or a fire truck is coming, what do? We prioritize. We all park by one side and give right of way to the ambulance or the fire truck immediately. Not because we have prepared that in our mind, but as soon as you hear the siren, you move away for that traffic to flow through. That is something like this also in networking. So GRE is a type of what? Tunneling protocol, transport protocol, broadcast protocol, switching algorithm. Is a tunneling protocol. Question number 40. MPLS uses what to forward packets? What does MPLS use to forward packets? IP addresses, MAC addresses, labels, ports. Just think about when you want to mail a letter, what will you put on it? I know you might think I'm talking about the address. The address will be on the envelope, but yet you must still put something before the carrier will take it. That is the stamp. So the label stands as the stamp. Question number 41. What is the function of a reverse proxy? What does reverse proxy do? Protect server by handling client requests, assign public IPs, balance power usage, perform DNS lookup. The answer is it protects server by handling client's request. So it takes the request from the client and stand in between the client and the server and send the request to the server, collect response from the server and forward it to the client. By that, the client may not know the true address of the server, and that is important for security purpose. So many organizations hide their sensitive servers behind proxy servers. So the proxy server acts like the real server. It takes the request from the client, but then forward it to the real server. The real server processes it, send the response back and to the proxy. So the server does not have direct interaction with the client. That minimizes the possibility of attack. So the answer is protects servers by handling client requests. 41 and 42. TCP fast retransmit triggers when what happens? TCP fast retransmit triggers when one ACK arrives, duplicate ACKs arrive, SYN is delayed, server resets. What is the answer? It triggers when duplicate ACKs, that is duplicate acknowledgements, arrive. It shows the speed at which the server, the destination host, is responding. And need to be matched. Okay, 43. A T1 line provides what bandwidth? T1 line. (64 kbps per second), 1.544 megabyte per second, 45 megabyte per second, 100 megabyte per second. What is the correct answer? Is it 64 kilobyte per second or 1.544 megabyte per second, or 45 or 100? The answer is B. 1.544 megabyte per second. Then question number 44. Which IPv6 prefix is for link local addresses? Which IPv6 prefix is for link local addresses? The answer is A, FE80. And the last question, question number 45. What is the main function of an IDS? What is the main function of an IDS? What is an IDS? An IDS is intrusion detection system. So, what is the answer? It blocks traffic, block attacks, detects suspicious activity, assign firewall rules, encrypt data. What is the answer? The answer is it detects intrusion detection. It detects suspicious activity. And we have come to the end of the quiz, the network quiz from beginner to advanced. I do hope this helps one way or the other, maybe in preparing you for your certification or in reminding you of things that you have probably forgotten. So, thank you for staying through to the end. Remember to like and subscribe.